when a woman knows that a lot of men want her, she may take a lot of men for granted because she knows that a lot of men want her. And this can also cause this woman to weigh men against each other, where if she feels that a certain man is not doing certain things for her, she then believes there will be 10 other men who can do those things based on what she's experiencing in the dating space at that time. So if you have 10 men who are wanting to date this one particular woman, and she knows that she has access to options and choice, she can then put herself in a situation where she may not necessarily appreciate who she has at that time because she knows that there are 9 other men who may possibly want to get with her, and because of that she may not appreciate this one particular guy who may show an interest in her and probably want to commit to her because in her mind she feels that she can get someone better. So if this relationship doesn't work out, she's not going to be stressed about where this relationship could have gone because she knows there are 9 other men who are looking for an opportunity to date her, right? And because this is now a pattern and it's a cycle that is continuing based on how many men are approaching her, this can actually cause her to lose focus and end up focusing on the idea that there are a lot more options for her in store. And as a result, if relationships are not working, she can continue to explore other men because she knows that there are men who are looking for her. Now, the downside of having too many options available in the dating space is that because it's a competition and everyone wants to win, you may find yourself in situations where a lot of people present a picture of what you are looking for in order to have you. But once they have you, they don't appreciate you enough to actually take that relationship a step further. Because you know that you have a lot of options to choose from. You know that you can decide to discard men if and when you want to because you know there are 10 others who are waiting to have a chance with you. So once you find yourself in a cycle of dating different men, different successful men, what may potentially happen is because you've had access to what you thought were options in each and every relationship that you get into, you may find yourself not using protection, for example, or you can find yourself having thought that that one particular person was your man at the time, and because you thought that person was your man at the time, you end up having a child with this person because you thought this relationship had a future or not. And sometimes because you are vibrating so high in your feminine energy, which is attracting a lot more men to you, you can end up actually finding yourself sleeping around a lot, thinking that these relationships are going to produce an outcome which is going to be favorable to you, whether you want to get married or you want a long-term partner. Because you are accessing men who are in their peak at that time. Most of these men are men who would have experienced a lot of rejection when they were younger. So when they are dating beautiful women in their peak, which happens to be you when you were young, they are not dating to wife you up. They are not dating you to make sure that they have a long-term relationship with you. They are dating you for the experience of what it is like to date a beautiful woman because you are in your peak, you are feminine, you are soft, and you haven't been exposed to the harsh elements of life, right? And they know that, but you don't know that. And because you don't know that, you think you might have actually landed a man who is everything that you have been looking for, because you don't realize that you are in a pattern of mind games. You think your beauty enables you to score opportunities in men. You then give yourself fully to each and every man that you meet because you think these men that you are meeting are going to make an honest woman out of you. But instead, because they were playing games and you were not aware, because you were also in your peak, in your era, which enables you to explore options. And sometimes the knowing that you have options to choose from causes some people to become arrogant in how they date and how they experience men and how they treat men. And that's why you find that some of these men, because of how some of these young girls used to treat them when they were younger, because some of them are extremely rude and they don't treat some of these men with kindness and respect in that phase, and they don't know how to let men down gently. And because they haven't been treating them well when they were young, this has created a lot of wounds in a lot of men who are unable to respect beautiful women and actually want to date them, to humiliate them, to embarrass them, and to treat them how those young girls used to treat them when they were young. Because this is now their turn to show women that they can also become successful and do to them what these women used to do to them. And this is why I'm saying it's a cycle. So if you are going to find yourself in a situation where you're dating someone who is in their peak, who has started to just make their money, is now exposed to different women, and you become that young woman who's exposed to these men, you are going to be one of those women who are only going to be left with a child, because some of them trap you with kids. You are going to be young girls who are left with diseases, because some of these men bakula by virtue of them sleeping around with a lot of women. And because women who date men who have money are not able to have a voice, because they respect them because of this money, and this money makes women to submit to these men, because money gives men power and the resources and the ability to, in some instances, control women. And because women consider themselves hypergamous, they then conclude that because they are hypergamous and they are dating men who are in their league, they feel that they can now afford these men the respect they need. Then it becomes the power dynamics, because they know that you are young and you can't stand up for yourself because you respect them based on what they have. They know that you are more desperate to stay with them more than they are desperate to stay with you, because they know that they are bringing in resources that you don't have, that you need, that you can't live without. And that is essentially what makes these men to abuse you, because they know that you have nowhere to go. They know that you haven't worked hard enough to accumulate your own things that will give you the power to be able to stand up for yourself. Now, because of these power dynamics, most women end up shutting themselves down, not having a voice, because of the resources these men have. And because these men are only dating you for the experience of being with you, they don't marry you but leave you with kids, they disappear, and you become a single mother. Because you are still beautiful and you have access to a lot more options, you try again with the same type of man, because you still haven't realized that for some men, all of this is just a game. And they come in, they know you have a child. Sometimes you hide your child because the dating space tells you that when you have a child, you are not dateable, right? Say, supposing your child is being raised by your mother somewhere high, and you still have an opportunity to try again in the dating space, you still go for the same type of man, because in your mind tells you that you deserve a man who is wealthy, who is successful, who's going to provide and protect you. And because you are beautiful and have your feminine energy that is still attracting more wealthy men to you, you fall into the same trap, you fall into the same pattern, because these men are only playing games. Because you thought this one would be different, you then allow yourself to go fully in with this man, giving him your mind, your soul, your body, and your spirit, only for this man to do the same thing which the other guy did, which is to leave you with a child. You are now mother of two. Mother of two, because in your mind you believe in the dream and the ideology that you are going to meet someone who is going to rescue you and build a life with you, who happens to be wealthy, successful, rich, or whatever it is that can afford you the lifestyle. Because everything that we see now is based on lifestyles that we see on Instagram that we eventually also want to experience. And if men come to us not looking like they have money, not looking like they are wealthy, and not looking like they are going to afford us the lifestyle that we want, we discard them, because we want instant gratification and we want men to do things for us that will help us also to put out images that show that we are also living a beautiful life which is afforded by our men. And no one is realizing that this is all a game. And after realizing that these men, excuse me, after realizing that these men are not committing to you, you give yourself a break again and you try again. But in your mind, excuse me, but in your mind, you still believe that you deserve a wealthy man, a rich man who's going to look after you. But the more they come, the more they finish you off, because they are only doing it to prove a point. Now you have become a mother of three, with three different men who have left you because you believed in a dream.